Or dandavat to each other early in the morning. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Namo Namaha.
The microphone is here, not there. All right. Hare Krishna, Rupa Nuga Prabhu, living in heaven, just see. But even heaven is temporary, therefore we have to go and search for Sri Krishna, reality, the beautiful.
Do you know, Maharaj, that is the book that Kumkum Didi is reading to us in Shraddha?
In what?
Reads at the ashram.
Oh, please repeat that. It's the book that Kumkum Didi is reading
in the book club.
Oh, in the book club. Okay,
yes.
Very good.
A
So,
group of us.
Perfect book to read.
Yeah.
Actually, whatever book you've chosen from Gurudev and Guru Maharaj would be perfect.
Well,
But
she has a beautiful plan, Maharaj. Excuse me to interrupt. She has a
Yeah.
beautiful plan. She started from the very first, and we are going to cover all the books, following your example. You're always reading.
Okay, well, we're very happy. It's not my example. This is the example of what we're meant to do. I'm pointing it out. And it is very healthy for us. And really, it is true. Search for Sri Krishna was the very first book that came, and we read and reread and quoted and shared with each other and relished this, that, and the other. And we are still reading it today, but that book was one book. And then the next book was the next book, next book was the next book. One by one, we came to know. So it is good for us to become nicely acquainted with the books. And we will find, I promise you, that we will want to go over them again and again. And by the time you read all the books, even if you're reading every day in the temple, it takes a while to finish each book. Then when you come back to the first book again, it's almost as if, oh, so much is new here. Did somebody add this in the text in the meantime? Did somebody paste some new pages in the book? So Kumkum Didi, we're very happy to hear about the progress of the book club and what you're doing.
I'm very enlivened. The sincerity of those who attend is very contagious.
Beautiful. Very happy to hear. Now I'm gently going to have to do something here because already my sweet computer is overheating because it's run out of memory. So I have to reclaim a little memory. Oh dear. Memory. All right. All right, dear devotees. We are here as we are each week, starting up slowly, and usually one or two coming to join us, one or two more coming to join us along the way. But we have Seva Rupa Devirasi in South Africa, Kumkum Didi, we've already been chatting with this morning, book club head reader, Kumkum Didi, and Radha Sundari Devirasi, who has not given us, or not given me, an update on Navadip and the sweet environment of breathing in the air of Navadip and Mayapur for a long time. So perhaps we can ask Radha Sundari first, just to give us a little update of the flavor of Navadip Dham through the eyes of a devotee. Anybody home? Or maybe she's a little busy. Anyhow, presently, Radha Sundari Devi, she's maybe looking after her daughter, or maybe doing Gundicha Marjanam. There it is 7:30 a.m. So she could actually be doing lots of things at 7:30 a.m. And Paramananda Prabhu just joined us, flown straight in from Thailand, flew in through immigration and has landed into Zoom. So here we are. Paramananda Prabhu Dandavat, we just gave obeisances to each other, but let us begin also giving obeisances and all honor to our gurus, who is everything to eat to all of us, everything to all of us. So Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Guru Dev Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Rock of Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada Om Vishnupad Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. And Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. And Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Gaur. Govinda Govinda. So in part of the world it is Gundicha Marjanam in Thailand and in Navadip and in India. It is already Gundicha Marjanam. Wherever we are, we've already been very much in Jagannath Puri consciousness, conscious of Jagannath, the places of the Lord's pastimes, the persons in the Lord's pastimes, and the Dham, the holy Dham of Jagannath. So this is another of those times of the year when we can be absorbed in some thoughts of holy things and try to forget all of the other things of our world, or put them in the secondary position and put the first position, remembering what's taking place in the spiritual world, actually, or what's taking place in Puri Dham. The pastimes of the Lord are eternal, and his places of pastimes are eternal, his associates are eternal. And if we can clean our vision, then we will see that we are actually eternal. And once we're at home, we'll find we don't have to go through this aging process and repeatedly leaving the world, not really knowing where we're going to go. Well, we don't really know where we're going to go. We are literally at the mercy either of karma or of Guru and Gauranga when we leaving from our bodies. For the materialists, it is basically just going through the cycle of birth and death according to the computer calculation of karma. And for the devotees, we pray to be simply aloof from all of the karma, having already prepared ourselves, going in the right direction home under their merciful shelter in this life and their merciful shelter continuing life after life. So if we can clean our heart, then we may be a little bit successful. And if we are trying to clean our heart, trying to follow the process, then we are already being a little bit successful because we're going in the right direction. Today is Gundicha Marjanam, and for yourselves in the western part of the Western Hemisphere, then it's the Adivas of Gundicha Marjanam. So it's still a good day to prepare the mind. And it's evening anyhow. It is not exactly early in the morning. So a little preparation for the next day, for finding the soap, finding the buckets, finding the ingredients, getting everything ready so that in the morning we can start cleaning the temple. Cleaning the temple is cleaning the heart. And so definitely we'll be reading all over the world from Chaitanya Charitamrita of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu and the devotees and the joyful pastimes, the hard work pastimes we can understand. It wasn't an easy day when people sitting back and watching the they have the robot vacuum cleaners, watching a robot vacuum cleaner go around the Gundicha temple, picking up grains of sand and this, that, and the other. It is a day of hard work. And Gurudev always happy that the devotees participate, everybody in some way in Gundicha Marjanam. So we will try to do some cleaning in our own area, our own temple, our own places, our own altar, do something extra today. Hare Krishna. And maybe Praneshri, did I make any note? Oh, something left over from last week. There was a question from Rairam, not Rairam, from Chintamani and
From Jaidev, but they
Jaidev
are
and
not
Chintamani.
here, so it's still pending.
Oh, it's still a pending question. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And was there anything else? Let me see my notes
No,
left over from
no
last week.
notes.
No.
No
Okay.
notes, Maharaj.
Simply back to basics. And what is one of the basics of our devotional life? We are covered by layers and layers of unwanted things covering the mirror of our heart. And so one of the basics is let's try to chip that off bit by bit. And not only bit by bit, let us try to quickly clean that off. And what is the quickest process? Chanting the holy names with whole heart, where possible in the association of the devotees, but with full heart. Chanting the holy name, remembering the Lord, participating as much as we can in the seva, service to Guru Vaishnava, which is coming to Mahaprabhu. And on days such as the Gundicha Marjanam, this is indeed, in a very, you can say, physical way, a day of putting into physical practice many of the things that we are hearing. So while cleaning the Gundicha temple, what are all the devotees doing? They're chanting only the names of the Lord. They're not talking about the football match. You see, I was in Brazil yesterday evening. I know they have an important football match taking place. Okay, we're not talking about, they were not, while cleaning the Gundicha, maybe before they were talking about whatever sport they played. Though, only I know of water sports. I can't, can we think of any competitive sport that took place as mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Any competitive sport? Now there's a question.
Prashadam honoring Maharaj.
Prashadam honoring. Well, there's an original answer that we can't dismiss with a wrong. You know, okay. When I was in school, thankfully, practically it was a year that I was leaving from school, they introduced these questions and answers where you have the question and then the answer has to be A, B, C, or D. You have to click. No, not click hadn't been invented then. You had to tick one of those. I found it so limiting because you have to try to analyze the brain of the person who's given the question, and not every question is just A, B, C, and D. And I think they did it so that it just makes it easier for the teachers. But like this case, it may not be the answer A, B, C, or D, but still it is the right answer. A competition of prasadam. Hare Krishna. Anyway, they were talking only Hari Katha, Krishna Katha. And anything they wanted, they're calling with the name of Krishna. Any direction they're giving, calling with the name of Krishna. All of this indicating maybe different names for different things. They maybe adopted some kind of method like that. But we all know that through our body language and indicating and pointing and calling, we can pretty much indicate what is wanted. After all, some say we evolved from a chimpanzee. Chimpanzees can do like that. So if they can, surely we can. Oh, we didn't evolve. Maybe we did evolve from a chimpanzee, but not physically. We evolved from our through consciousness. Hare Krishna. So, first of all, we will be hearing everywhere in our individual temples. We'll be hearing online, no doubt, in different places. Things are taking place today. And we'll be doing it. We'll be reading ourselves, hearing ourselves from the books too, about Gundicha Marjanam. But I can ask if anybody has a question in relation to anything to do with the Jagannath Puri Parikramas and the Jagannath Rathayatra and the Gundicha Marjanam in general. because this is our opportunity. We're a few together and we can interact with questions and answers in this regard. So first I can put it out there to us. Any question from anybody? No. All right. Then, right behind Praneshwari Devidasi, I know it's a virtual screen, but it virtually reminds us. It reminds us very much of our home there, Navadip, Navadip Dham, Navadip, the most generous place in Navadip, Koladeep, where Pada Sevanam is the speciality, service is the speciality, and in service, the most special place is distributing what is the highest service and the highest relationship with the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, of Guru Maharaj, of Gurudev, what they have given to the world coming from there. And at least I can say that, okay, I can ask myself, what memories do you have of Gundicha Marjanam in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat? And I can say, Gundicha Marjanam was a happy day every year. It was a happy day. Gurudev will be happy. It was just, happiness was generally in the air on the Gundicha Marjanam. And we can say one side of it, everybody comes together as a team in the cleaning of the temple. And about that also, I can say that when the devotees come together and they're sitting, and the bhajans, the sitting down, the kirtans are taking place in the morning, in the evening, when devotees are coming down, sitting in front of Gurudev, when devotees are coming together, it's just everybody is, okay, the same but different. It's just one team of singers, one team of chanters, one team of listeners to Gurudev, one team of listeners to Guru Maharaj, like one team of students, and not like separate, somebody's great, somebody's small, somebody's this, somebody that, but it's just part of that wonderful Sankirtan team. And on the Gundicha Marjanam day, we can say we've seen many devotees all coming together, part of the Gundicha Marjanam and Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Marjanam team coming together to participate in cleaning this, cleaning that. We had to be a bit careful with the water throwing. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it does say about how they would throw water on the ceiling and on the walls, etc., etc. But in this age, almost every temple does have electricity. So dear folks, you've never seen electricity, but you have so much faith in electricity. Oh, really? Why? Because you see the evidence of electricity, but none of you've seen it. So why is the world so blind to Krishna and Krishna's consciousness? We see evidence of everything so marvelously, but don't want to accept that Krishna is there. Oh, what? So anyhow, electricity. And literally, we've had 1 year, this was, you can say, a year of learning. We learn something every time. 1 year after Gundicha Marjanam, we had to have like three different twos of devotees go around all the rooms that had been cleaned and go and disassemble the fan and empty out the water, because in Navadip, the fans, they have like a decorative part that goes on the bottom, so it doesn't look ugly, basically. But it very nicely holds water if you throw up on the ceiling and wash everything with water. So you have literally the fan is in the water. And so it's a little bit of a shocking experience for some persons, that they do get the evidence of electricity and water. I know, for those of you who went to school, technically water does not conduct electricity, by the way, those of you who did go to school. But due to the fact that there are impurities in the water, it does, in reality, in reality means in effect it does conduct electricity. Just for those of you who wish to know, actually pure H2O doesn't. That's some useless information that we remember all the way from our school days. Hare Krishna. So to answer my question to me, what do you remember about Gundicha Marjanam? Really, a happy day, lots of water, but conservatively used, or used liberally, but carefully in appropriate places. And don't forget that India in general, you can throw water on the walls and this, that, and the other, because everything is kind of washable, and that the lime paint and stuff, you can get it wet, whereas if you have wallpaper or something else. We have to be practical, ladies and gentlemen, about how we do the Gundicha Marjanam in our own places. And with the practicality side, then we can say in Navadip, very practical, the brooms, all this, that, and the other, which if they didn't purchase yesterday, I mean the day before the Gundicha Marjanam, then also we send devotees to purchase, but we'll have them already. But in India, at least in Navadip, in Chaitanya Saraswati, things are very straightforward. Like a broom is just a handmade broom from the reeds or the whatever it is that brooms are made of. But like it's a very simple thing. 2 days ago, we went on what we call walk and talk with the devotees here. And we do it not only 2 days ago, but 2 days ago we went, and then we come one part and we hear this sound or some kind of strong sound. And what was happening? There were 2 people like sweeping the streets after the leaves had been falling and this, that, and the other. But how were they sweeping the streets? With a gasoline engine, a petrol engine, and a machine with a big nose, like bigger than an elephant's nose. And then with this, they're blowing all the things off all the leaves into some place, and all this noise and all this technology and this, that, and the other. And I thought, my goodness, why not just use a couple of brooms made by nature instead of all of this? Anyhow, Nabadip is very simple, and with all the natural ingredients and cleaning the temple. And a part of the happiness of Gundicha Marjanam is knowing that next day is the Jagannath Rath Yatra. And that is, of course, universally for the devotees, universally it's a joyful day. And so it's all this anticipation. And as we go through Chaitanya Charitamrita, which many of you will be reading at this time, then we see that Mahaprabhu, he's not been able to see Jagannath, not been able to go for darshan for, I don't know exactly how many days, but since a little while after the Snan Yatra, when Jagannath caught a fever, oh dear, the Lord's pastimes, where he caught a fever and was under doctor's orders not to see anybody. So Mahaprabhu, he'd gone to Alalanath, so also he is coming back from Alalanath, and then he will come back actually probably the day before Gundicha Marjanam, but in preparation for the Rath Yatra, he's coming back. So this anticipation of Mahaprabhu and the devotees to see the Lord. And for us Westerners, here we are all Westerners together, except Radha Sundari Devi Dasi. And Seva Rupa, her blood is not Western, but she's born in the West. But for the rest of us, we can't see Jagannath, we can't go and see him, not only while he's under doctor's orders not to see anybody, but we can't see him throughout the whole year. So of course, for the Westerners, for the Western devotees, then it is a very also eager time of anticipation that we'll see the Lord tomorrow, as it were. But we see him by hearing in Navadip and by sharing with those who go to Puri, because those who go to Puri, they'll keep some touch, they'll keep some connection with us in Navadip. So Gundicha Majram in Navadip, because Praneshwari being there, she took us to Navadip. But we've also been there happily in Jagannath Puri on Gundicha Marjanam, and cleaning our temple, cleaning our guest house, the Sevak Bhavan, which is on the street behind, cleaning the Brahmachari Sannyasi quarters, the L building, which envelops. Yes, Radha Sundari Devi, yes, in a minute that we'll hear from you, Jai. Cleaning the L building, the ashram building, right beside our, the temple. Beside means enveloping our temple in Jagannath Puri. And there also very much water, the brooms, chanting, and then afterwards taking prasadam. So anyway, a happy day. And let us take the opportunity while we can to visit Mayapur, not just with a photo, but with
Maharaj,
live.
we're in Vrindavan now.
You're in Vrindavan now. Oh, well, let us see.
Oh, what's Vrindavan?
Let us see Vrindavan. We saw some dust on the street in Vrindavan just now. You had the camera on. Can you share something with us, Radha Sundari Devi? Oh.
Altar is closed, so I can show only from the Pujari door.
Oh, this is our temple, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math and Mission. 96 Seva Kunj, renumbered to 112 Seva Kunj. They renumbered all the buildings because more buildings got added, so they renumbered the whole street. Jai.
So yeah, because of we are in Vrindavan, I can show.
Jai. Saparika Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhavika. Oh, remind me. Oh, terrible. The name of the deity. Gandhavika?
Oh, yes. Gandharvika Rasabihari. Oh, no.
Thank you. Oh,
wait.
My goodness.
There is Sri Guru Gauranga. I can't see.
Gandhava Rasabihariju. Yes.
Gandharva Rasabihari Ji.
Yes. Gandhava, Gandhavika, both names used for Navadip deities and for Vrindavan deities too. Be careful of your phone if you go outside. Mind the monkey.
Yes, I'm always thinking about it.
Okay.
Most of the time, I'm not taking my phone with me even.
Okay. So there we can see Tulasi Devi on the left. Jai Tulasi Devi.
Yeah, they are not like.
There is the memorial for Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. Really, Didi, be careful with your phone. Don't lose your phone because of us.
Yes.
Govinda, and this is the view the monkeys have inside. And when we're all taking prasadam, this is the view the monkeys have, hankering for prasadam, putting their little hands inside the door. And anyone who's sitting there during the feast time, sitting there near the gate, they're going to get their hair pulled or their cloth pulled by the little monkeys if they sit near to that gate. Oh, look, it's all wet. Oh, you see, because it's wet, because they're doing the cleaning, the big cleaning. Jai. Oh, we're in Vrindavan. Is who's in charge there? Madhava Maharaj is there? Anybody home? Gita. Oh, Gita Didi.
No,
Hare
Madhav Maharaj is not
Krishna.
there. But Ravindra is here.
Gita, Dandavat.
Dandavat, Maharaj, Dandavat.
Very happy to see you.
Dandavat, Maharaj.
Kirana Kochen, what are you cooking?
Hey, Radharani Jai. Rasa bhaja. ভালো আছেন আপনি?
ভালো দিদি, সবাই ভালো। জয়।
আমার দণ্ডবন্ধ দেবেন।
Dandabat, apni ama dandabat bhajan. Jai. Hare Krishna. Oh, okay, Radha Sundari, we're now going to be in separation, not only of Navadip, Chaitanya, Saraswat Math and Puri. We're now going to be in separation from Vrindavan down. Okay, Didi, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And you've got there, you've arrived there safely. Means in India you are able to travel a little bit because, of course, you were in Navadip. We were expecting that. So good, you're able to travel and be there. Hare Krishna. So, Kumkum Didi, would you like to share some Gundicha or
Yes,
any
everybody
other
was
topic,
very
but a little bit, like Puri, Ratha Yatra,
nice.
Gundicha
We come,
Majik.
yeah, by plane and then by car, and by
Okay, so I think we heard that Radha Sundari, she came by plane and by car to come to Vrindavan. All right, wonderful. Kumkum Didi, would you like to say something, share something with us from your experiences, from as you wish to say?
Here in the West, if we're not able to be in India at the time, we're probably cleaning the temples here. And it's a day that it's not difficult to have many people come. And they also find it very joyful, and especially to get, we don't throw water on the ceilings and the walls, but to get to those places that hardly ever get really thoroughly cleaned, like the underside of the big hood that's over the stoves, where the oils and the ghee will go up and get very dirty and collect a lot of dirt there. So, and then the vents where the heating goes through can get quite dirty, and it just takes too much time. So a lot more than the simple washing, sweeping, washing, scrubbing. But that's what we probably will be doing here in the West. I was wondering though, thinking about this, what season is it in India now as well as in the time of Mahaprabhu? It must be past the rainy season. It must be after that.
It's in the rain and not rain. It's not because the rainy season comes the second week of June. So still should be, hopefully, a little cloudy and some rain. It's not the fully dry time yet. So August it'll dry out, and then September generally very pleasant.
Okay. But if there's flooding, if it's one of the flood years, does that affect? Okay.
No.
Okay.
It should not be. I mean, we know the world, everybody say, those people who've lived for hundreds of years, they say that everything is different than it was hundreds of years ago. Anyhow, no. And Jagannath Puri generally won't flood, at least, okay, I mean the area around from Jagannath temple up to the Gundicha, that area. And indeed, it is told, when you look at that on the left, the Singadwara, which maybe is facing east, is it true? That's east. And the western side gate, because there are 4 entrances to the compound of Jagannath, the Jagannath temple. And beside the western side, no, it's west. How can it be west? Anyway, the side that faces the sea, which is, when you're looking at the temple, the left side of the temple there, that gateway, there is a big Hanuman there. Hanuman is there. And he is, it's told, he is protecting the Jagannath temple from any flooding from the ocean, and from any sound of the sea, so that Jagannath can rest nicely and not be disturbed by the sound of the sea. And so Hanuman is there, and Hanuman is the son of Vayu. And so he's very able to do that service, of course. So Puri doesn't flood, and generally the opposite, that devotees do hope for a little rain in order to get some shelter, because it can be very hot. And sometimes, and they have them there, you'll see they have the fire engine with full of water sprinkling the devotees. And in age at least before mobile phones, now you need to put your mobile phone in a plastic wrapper or something, because you can get quite sprinkled by those fire engines. But anyhow, everybody loves to get sprinkled so that, or get wet, so that they get some relief from the heat. So it's generally a little bit on the hot side. Well, you can say not a little bit. It's generally on the hot side, you can say. And hopefully some cloud cover, hopefully a little rain.
I was also a question for Paramananda Prabhu, I guess. In Thailand, in this temple, it looks like it's very well suited for Gudija mantra and throwing mini buckets. And the water can just flow out. That's what it looks
Yes,
like.
Kumgiri. What is the question?
Is that true? Is that how it is there?
Yes, we can. Let me come out. We certainly can. We can throw many buckets, and then the water will roll out.
Yeah.
It's an open temple.
Paramananda Prabhu, your microphone is off somehow.
Because he's giving instructions.
No, he's talking to us, no? Oh, he's giving instruction.
I'm giving some instructions on the construction. So we're also doing some Gundisha margin here. And we always need instructions in our life. So we're giving some instructions. Yes, Kumkum Didi, what else can I say about it?
I'm just thinking it must be very joyful. There's so many good devotees there that are enthusiastic.
Oh yes, it's always very enthusiastic. It's always filled with life, and I know that Goswami Maharaj will be coming. I'm not there right now. I'm in a different department of our temple here in Chiang Mai. So we have a farm to do margin as well. So we're here, and then devotees are there, and everybody will participate, no doubt. And really remembering Mahaprabhu Leela, and it's one of the most cheerful chapters in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Not most cheerful, but one of the cheerful chapters in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we'll all remember our Gundisha margins over the years, like Maharaj was telling. The stories from Navadvip, happy event, no doubt. And then another thing we have to remember, what is the temple? And in Gundicha margin explanation, or maybe commentary, maybe explanation, Rahasya, explanation of the pastime, Srila Saraswati Thakur, he talks about it. That what is the temple? I mean, if we have a building, if we have an altar, we may have a deities there, but does that make a temple temple? What do you think, Maharaj?
The service, the devotees. You need the devotees, you need the service, the holy name, and worship of the deity.
Exactly, Maharaj, really. It's the devotee who makes the temple temple. What attracts Krishna into the Murti? We have to invite Krishna. There's a certain ceremony when a devotee invites Krishna to descend, to enter the Murti, that Krishna can mercifully accept our service. It's the devotee. The absence of the devotee, the temple becomes an empty shell. So what is happening in Gundicha right now? So Krishna is about to come. And Saraswati Thakur, he points out that it is a common sense. When you invite a guest, we're not speaking of spiritual world. We're not talking about anything spiritual at the moment. Let's say you invite the guests to come. What are you doing? You're cleaning your house. You're making sure everything is clean. Some guests are coming. You want it to be neat and nice. They feel comfy. They feel at home. They feel cheerful. So in a similar way, what to speak when we're inviting Krishna to come, to enter the temple. And then another point we have to remember, Saraswati Thakur, he said, he's not so interested in making many temples. This is not his goal, but his wish is to make a temple in the heart of every living being. So ultimately, he comes to this explanation that what is Gundicha Marjan? What's the meaning of that? It's just like once a year we get together, we clean the temple kitchen, a room, and that's it. He said, no, this is a daily activity. Mahaprabhu's just spotlighting it for us, making it important, but we have to remember something we have to do every day. And then Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he points out, Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Anavritam Anukulena Krishna Anushilunam Bhaktir Uttamam Sarvapadivinir Muktam Tatparatvina Nirmalam Hrishikena Hrishikeshi Sevayam Bhaktir Uchite. So we have to prepare ourselves. All the inferior motivations, jnana, karma, all the desires of myself have to be eliminated. Our heart have to be pure so that Krishna can enter. And Mahaprabhu shows it. In the past time, we read how once they're cleaning the temple, they're collecting all the bigger particles of dust and dirt. And then Mahaprabhu examines that. And then Maharaj mentioned yesterday, and when he sees some devotees doing better than others, then he is saying to the devotee who is doing better, teach the one who is doing not as good as the other devotee. So he's telling him, you have to teach that person and you have to follow that devotee who is very successful. Then again, they're cleaning the temple. And not just the walls and the floor, but the ceiling. They're throwing buckets of water on the ceiling. And it's endless. That's why it seems like it's Nam Sankirtan. Everybody is doing Nam Sankirtan because they're not exchanging the words. They're exchanging Krishna Nam. It's Krishna, Krishna. You want a bucket? Krishna. And more buckets, Krishna, Krishna. They have this code word, but it's always Krishna, 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 and with different intonations. So the sound vibration of that, the seva mood, everything is just so wonderful. So pointing out, again, Srila Gurudev, I mean, Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, they're saying this is something we must do daily in our life with our heart. We're inviting Krishna, we're chanting Krishna, 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 but what if our heart is not clean and how Krishna can enter? We have to be properly cleansed, free from those contaminations. So that's the main focus on that. And temple, again, will become a temple if there is a presence of substance. And who can represent that substance? A devotee, a substantial devotee. And like when Gurudev just joining Guru Maharaj, he is a little bit disappointed because in his mind, the ashram is something grand, the Rishi ashram, something more grand than he saw. And there was a hat. And then devotee say, yes, maybe it looks like a hat, but there is a great sadhu in that hat. And really, that's a grand temple because of the grand sadhu. And we may have a grand temple, the biggest temple in the world, but if there is a fool sitting inside, then it's just a building. It doesn't represent the reality, the beautiful. It's absent of substance. So all those things we have to consider and happily, in a happy mood, practice with external cleaning of the temple first, but then not forgetting for a second the internal cleaning of the heart, which Saraswati Thakur points out the substance of that lila, the essence, the meaning of that lila. Mahaprabhu is mercifully giving us good example. And as we know, after that, they all go in the sport in Indradyumna Sarovar. And how this sport is also amazing and it's also wondrous. And Mahaprabhu is standing there with Gopinath Acharya, looking at everybody and saying, what is wrong with him? How is that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya imitating the frog voices? And with Advaita Acharya, they're competing. Here you go, Maharaj. Another sport. They're doing like, who is better in the frog language? And Mahaprabhu is laughing in Gopinath Acharya. I can only explain that because you give them some special mercy. Look at them. Nityananda, Advaita, Sarvabhauma, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Paramananda Puri, Brahmananda Bharati, all those senior Vaishnavas, extremely senior Vaishnavas, they're behaving like children. splashing water, fighting each other, making frog sounds, and everybody is so happy. Then Mahaprabhu joins in, and then he's floating on Advaita Acharya. Just think about it. It's just amazing, unbelievable, imitating the Mahavishnu's pastimes. Beautiful pastime. And not to forget, they also cleansed Narasingha temple behind. There's a temple, Narasingha temple, just behind Gundicha. After Gundicha was finished, they went there. It's relatively small in size, and they cleansed that too. And then they went in Radhima Sarovar.
And they cleansed the streets there too.
Exactly.
That is also not only the temples, but the streets where the Lord is going to be. And that Nrsimha temple is the same Nrsimha temple. And by the way, we Westerners are allowed to go in there. And we just blend in. There's nothing, there's no question. It's just we blend in, we go in there, and we're one of the pilgrims who's trying to get a little darshan of Nrsimhadev and doing the parikrama in that very solid stone temple construction.
Maharaj, the same stones that were touched by the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Advaita, Shiva, Swarup Damodar, Gadadhar Pandit, and all the Parshads. It's insane, it's unbelievable.
Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Sundari Didi. Thank you for the tour, Radha Sundari, by the way. Good. Hare Krishna. And Rupa Nuga Prabhu was with us on our last pilgrimage in Puri, where we went to these places. Treasure the time. Maybe external, maybe physical in some sense, but really it's very special. You see, tourists go to see all sorts of places, from the history book, from this, that, and the other, and they're reliving some history. But actually, this is not the same. That is a shadow of what is actual pilgrimage, a shadow of what is actually visiting the place of the Lord, the places of the Lord's pastimes and the pastimes of the devotees. And of places of pastimes, we have our three principal places, Navadip, Vrindavan, and Puri. And out of these places, Puri is, you can say, intact, the most intact, again, putting the quotes, as our dear Chidandi Maharaj would always say, quote, physically, it is the most intact of the actual stones and places where the Lord and the devotees had their pastimes. Because Navadip, even though only 500 years ago, by the will of the Lord, was inundated by the Ganges. And so those places, those places rediscovered, and as we heard just recently too, by who? By Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, able to see with his vision. And so he rediscovered these places of the Lord's pastimes, revealed them in Navadip Dham, Mahatmya Navadip Dham Bhavataranga. And the places in Vrindavan, simply by the 5,000 years, that's kind of a long time, since we can't really expect a lot of things to be standing after 5,000 years. But there in Vrindavan and Rup Sanatan and others, Bhurgava Goswami and others, they assisted, Lokanath Goswami assisted in locating those places, the lost places of pilgrimage in Vrindavan. But in Puri, as we mentioned yesterday when we went to Kannai Kuttiya's house in Pandarasta, there in Jagannath Puri, the same, exactly the same house that Mahaprabhu stayed at, and confirmed this is not rumor, this is so, this is actually the case. And it helps us in Europe at least, and in Asia, it helps us to understand there are many places which still are existing, many churches in Europe which are well over 500 years old. Then we can understand 500 years ago is not very long also. So what are we doing, hesitating in our taking up with our whole heart this Krishna consciousness? We should be jumping and eager. Hare Krishna. Yes, Kumkum Devi. And Praneshri Didi has some messages, I think. She looks ready to say something.
No, just I was thinking that this festival, the Parikrama festival, infuses us with so much eagerness to be engaged. 24 hours is not enough. I would like to have less time to sleep so I could do so more, because the ideas of seva, they flow so easily when you're listening to these talks. They are so special, so beautiful, that you want to be engaged. Not only reading, not only transcribing, no, you want to do more and more and more. I love that, Maharaj. I need that.
And these are the words of Praneshwari, who we know is doing translation at 11 p.m. local time, 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m. And then local time, 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., doing translation. There, a wonderful example. Fully engaged and wanting to be more fully engaged. But it is true, by hearing of all these wonderful pastimes, we want to be there, but something stubborn inside us keeps us with our mundane view. Can we ask to Rupanuga Prabhu that you visited Puri, you were there with us, and maybe a little something that stands out in your memory, something you can share to give us all some remembrance and encouragement? Or your microphone, Prabhu, please click and unmute.
Yes, thank you. Yes, the Jagannath temple just stood out. It was, for me, life-changing at that moment. When you said at this moment, if you look at that flag, and whatever you dream, you'll manifest, will actually happen for me. And I was just so inspired, the magnificence of it, and just the power and all, the might of it. It was always forever in my mind. Yes, that was the most outstanding vision and memory for me.
Jai. And that is the dome, the chakra, the flag that Haridas Thakur would give obeisances to, that Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and others. They are giving obeisances. They're non-different than giving obeisances to Jagannath, Baladeva, and Subhadra. And wonderful things. Thank you, Rupanuga Prabhu.
All right.
Jai. Hare Krishna. And Seva Rupa Devinasi. Last but not least, because all devotees are equal in the eyes of the Lord, so it cannot be least. So Seva Rupa Devi. A few words from you. You are there with devotees. You are there with very good devotees in South Africa, dear devotees. And you've led a life with devotees. So you must have something that you know about Jagannath, or something you can comment about these times. Kindly.
Dandavats Maharaj, Dandavats all. I feel so like unqualified, if I could put it that way. Yes, from my memories just here in South Africa, I know my mom is from the ashram or temple in Durban, and they used to have the Radhayatra on the beachfront, and we used to go there quite often for the festivals. Always huge, and lots of wonderful memories with they had concerts or festivals and stalls and all the devotees. So it's I don't think it's anything compared to like being in India and things. But I was just trying to understand where there was about the holy places and how it's not a physical place, and that does that, like I've never been there, and how do I understand that? Is it something that even in your mind and your heart, you're there? Is it, what does it mean when it said that the holy places are not like a physical, it's an offense to think it's a physical place? How do I understand that? That's what I wanted to ask.
That is a good question. And I'm going to pass this to Paramananda Prabhu. Paramananda Prabhu, please give us all some good tips on how not to see the physical in the sense of physical, because we see what we see. But Sevarupadi
Right.
giving a practical question for us all, because we're all trying to see the right way.
Like Goswami Maharaj recently, he mentioned that Vaishnavas are seeing through the ears. They're seeing by hearing, and they're seeing by hearing from another Vaishnava who is the resident of that plane. So they can convey us the beauty, the reality of what is actually happening. So for example, after listening a talk of a substance like Goswami Maharaj, we listen to talk. And while we're listening, we're seeing that really. Like yesterday, I just noticed that, even though I have no qualification whatsoever. But it doesn't mean that the holy name and Krishna Katha cannot forcibly enter my heart and reveal me something. So something came to me, and I will keep it to myself. Real or not, I do not know, but it was wonderful. I don't care, because I was in the company of the Vaishnavas, and I was listening, hearing from the Vaishnava, and that current, that what actually shows us the reality. So we're not participating in the ritual. We're entering that current of divine service that is flowing from the heart of the Vaishnava. And Maharaj is saying, just like you throw a flower in the Ganges, the current of the Ganges will take the flower. But if you run alone, you will be part of that flow. You will be moving with the speed of that current. So this is what he is saying, how to understand that. So we have to enter, and enter means dedicate ourselves. Here we come to the Atma Nikshepa, Atma Samarpan, Sharanagati, all those principles. Full surrender. If we surrender ourselves, we will be carried by that current. And then we will see the reality, what is real, what is not. Otherwise, we'll just use our brain, our puppy brain, to analyze, oh, why is the chariot of this particular shape? Why is this color? Why is that? What are they doing? Why is he moving Chimara 8 times clockwise and not otherwise? So we will be paying to all the external things. Why Jagannath is like that? That's a good question, by the way. That will lead to a good conversation. Then there is your chance. But Chimara is not a good question, but why Jagannath is like that? It's a very good question. So reality can be seen through hearing from the substantial devotee. Then we can see by hearing. Beautiful. Chakudan Dilajay Janme Janme Prabhu say, you're giving me that divine vision so that I can see that you're my Lord, life after life. Please continue doing that. Or Bhagavad Gita, who is giving us divine vision? The Guru. How are we approaching the Guru? Vaishnava, humbly submitting to his will, asking him to please tell us what to do, engage us, use us. And that's our good fortune. When Srila Gurudev said, I used you, I used all of you. I was shocked because my mind reacted faster than my a little bit of sumedhasa that I had from fine intelligence, had drops of it. Then they kind of balanced it. But first I was like, what? I've been used? How is that possible? What kind of nonsense is that? That my mind was saying. But then I realized how fortunate we are. It was Gurudev, the resident of that plane. He can use that in the service to that plane. And that's our chance to see the reality, drops of it. In the beginning, we're like zombies. We're moving, but we don't know exactly what's going on. The Vaishnava is pulling the strings, but slowly we're acquiring some skill by the grace of the Vaishnava again. Krishna says, if you have some talents, I will engage that in my service. I will use that. And if you lack something, I will give you that. I will supply you. There will be no, don't worry about it. Just give yourself to me. I will give you everything else, whatever you need. So this is the way to see it. And that would be my answer that I heard from Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, all of them pointing in that direction.
And Goswami Maharaj 2 or 3 days ago, then in the talk is saying something very simple, but like so bringing it so clear to us. He said, Mahaprabhu, he's seeing the mundane things, but everything, the mundane things he's seeing spiritually. And what are we doing? We are seeing the spiritual things and seeing them in a mundane way. So, oh, quite the opposite. You know, okay, yes. We are coming in front of the deity, coming to the Dham, coming to the river Ganges, coming to so many things like that. But
constant adjustment.
Constant adjustment. Then Sevarupa's question is very practical. How do we change our vision? And chant the holy name constantly with humility, tolerance, giving honor to others. Associate with the devotees, hear from the devotees. Association means serve the devotees. And please continue happily. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. And it should not be a complicated thing. We make it complicated by our overactive brain in the material world and the heavy, like instilled in us from birth, atheistic kind of ideas of still in this world. It is evolution from mundane to consciousness. It is not that.
Maharaj, whatever you're saying, yeah.
How beautiful.
Conform.
Yesterday we saw the peacock. Here nearby is a peacock. Really, if you want to argue that that has evolved by accident and this, that, and the other, you've really got to come up with some really stupid excuses. I mean, you've got to really be like a word juggler and a thought juggler to try to debate that one in a debate, that, oh, this beauty, this art, this elegance, this perfect arrangement on each of the feathers, how it has come, such a beautiful bird. Then you're going to explain that there's no artist behind this, there's nobody behind that. But that is what is hammered into us from our childhood and somehow lurks around in our consciousness. So we have to be able to break free from this and see reality, the beautiful. See that through the devotees, those who have eyes to see. Yes,
Maharaj,
Prabhu,
how about
sorry.
the Turkey? A Turkey.
Yes.
How about that? You're giving example of people.
Also Turkey. I mean, Krishna has a sense of humor.
There you go. That's not an explanation.
And the turkey is a peacock wannabe, as they say. And actually, where we went, they have these small white birds also, and I don't know what their name is, but they also, the back, the tail part, they are putting up, and it's almost, I mean, it's so funny to see because it's almost like, oh, they want to be the turkey. But even those little birds are beautiful, and they have some other birds. I have no idea what they're called, though it did have some like thing on the cage because they're in a cage, but big. They're not just a little cage, a big cage. But they got these other birds, which they're not turkeys, they're not this, not that. But the artwork of their feathers, of the plumes, and the way, like very intricate and very nicely done. But it's just so crazy that this idea of evolving from a stone to this, natural selection makes these images appear on every feather and like this. Just forget it. It's so much easier. Just say, oh, there's a wonderful artist. Let's search him out. And then raise your head from the cage and look at the beauty all around. And we're told shadow. This is only a shadow of the beauty of Vrindavan. We read together there in Thailand, the Brihat Bhagavatamritam, and how lost for words for describing the beauty of like every aspect of the shrub, the tree, the duck, the swan, not just the swans, the birds that are swimming on the water, those birds who fly in the tree. I mean, stuck for words for how to describe.
It's actually futile to even attempt to use words of this mundane world to describe Vrindavan.
But we are thankful that they have tried, because at least telling us, well, look, okay, we have to go there. We can't just read about it in a book. We got to go there. So let's follow the process nicely.
But Maharaj, what I wanted to say on the subject of holy name, getting us there, it actually, I just wanted to point it out that it is confirmed, no doubt, by Srila Rupa Goswami in that verse, famous verse, Atah Shri Krishna Namadina Bharat Grahyam Indriyai. So he's saying it's impossible to perceive beauty of Krishna with regular mundane senses. It's only possible through Seva Mukhe Hijihvado, to engage your mouth and your tongue in the service. And Prabhupada is giving very interesting commentary on that. He's saying, then let the holy name be our medicine and prasadam be our diet. And in this way, we will proceed. Hare Krishna. Maharaj is gone. Maharaj.
He mentioned at the beginning that his computer was heating up a lot. Oh, he's back. He's back.
There he is.
Apologies, Mr. Internet failed, but maybe the internet was stunned to hear. Let the holy name be the medicine and prasad be the diet. And then just after that, my internet cut out. What can I do?
That's it, Maharaj. There's nothing else.
Nothing mundane left. Okay, dear devotees, please join in as best you can, whatever way you can, but with heart within, God overhead. Let us continue happily these auspicious days. Jai, wonderful Srila Gurudev ki jai, wonderful Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai, wonderful Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and Bhagavan, grand Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, of course, wonderful also, ki jai. And I'm Sri Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki jai, and all the acharyas from Mahaprabhu presenting us Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, means Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai, Nitai Gopi, Hari Hari Bol. Each of you ki jai individually, of course. All right, wishing you successful Seva days and expecting maybe to see each of you, I think, within the next few hours, and we'll be together in Seva, cleaning the temples, but trying to clean our hearts too with this inner thought, what is a Gundicha Marjanam, individually for us too. Hare Krishna.
Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Namo namaha.
Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank each of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.